Karen lived in a cozy neighborhood where holiday cheer filled the air. Every year, she took pride in decorating her home for the holidays, but this season, something bothered her more than usual. Her neighbor, Mr. Thompson, had set up an impressive display of colorful lights that twinkled beautifully each night. While many admired the festive scene, Karen couldn't help but feel uneasy. As she drove past the lights each evening, she began to worry that the brightness distracted drivers, potentially causing accidents. Furthermore, she believed Mr. Thompson's decor went against the strict rules laid out by their homeowners association, HOA. Armed with determination, Karen decided to take action. She started gathering evidence to support her claims about the lights being unsafe and violating HOA regulations. Karen took photos from various angles and even noted the times when the lights seemed to shine brightest. She imagined how satisfying it would be to present her findings at the next HOA meeting and restore what she thought of as order in the neighborhood. However, as she prepared her case, little did she know that her own holiday display, featuring animated characters and speakers blasting cheerful Christmas tunes, was about to create a twist in this festive tale. Unbeknownst to her, Mr. Thompson would soon discover that sometimes complaints can lead to unexpected consequences during this joyous season. Determined to prove her point, Karen set out on her mission with a camera in hand. Every night, she parked her car across the street to capture Mr. Thompson's holiday light display from different angles. She took photos of the vibrant colors and twinkling patterns, framing them to emphasize how distracting they appeared against the backdrop of the quiet neighborhood. Karen felt a mix of excitement and apprehension as she snapped each picture. If I can just show the HOA how unsafe these lights are, they'll have to take action, she thought, imagining herself at the next meeting with her evidence neatly organized. She even began to jot down notes about the times when cars seemed to slow down or swerve slightly while passing by. As she collected her documentation, Karen decided that videos would make her case even stronger. She recorded clips of the lights flashing in sync with the music playing in the background, convinced that this would further illustrate how distracting they were. Each night, she meticulously reviewed what she had captured, looking for the perfect moments to highlight in her complaint. But while she focused on Mr. Thompson's display, Karen continued to overlook an important detail at home: her own animated holiday show was becoming more elaborate by the day. Little did she realize that her efforts to gather evidence could soon backfire in ways she never expected. As Mr. Thompson reviewed his own holiday decorations, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He had noticed Karen lingering near his property, taking photos and jotting down notes, and it piqued his curiosity. One evening, driven by concern and a bit of annoyance, he decided to investigate her display further. As he walked past Karen's home, he was met with a dazzling sight: an animated holiday show complete with brightly lit characters dancing in sync to the sounds of loud Christmas music. The cheerful tunes blasted from speakers strategically placed around her yard, creating a festive atmosphere. Mr. Thompson couldn't help but be impressed by the elaborate setup, but then he recalled Karen's complaints about his lights. Intrigued yet perplexed, he grabbed his phone to document the scene for himself. He recorded videos of the animated figures twirling and singing while the music played at an ear-splitting volume. As he captured footage, it dawned on him that Karen's display might not only violate city noise regulations but also undermine her own complaints against him. With each passing moment, Mr. Thompson felt a growing sense of justice. He realized that while Karen sought to enforce rules on him, she might actually be the one breaking them. Armed with evidence of her loud display, he couldn't wait to share what he found, setting the stage for an unexpected twist in their holiday rivalry. As Mr. Thompson reviewed his recordings of Karen's holiday display, he decided to look up the local noise ordinances. He discovered that the city had specific regulations concerning sound levels, particularly in residential areas during nighttime hours. According to these ordinances, outdoor noise should not exceed a certain decibel limit, especially after 10 p.m. Curious about how loud Karen's setup actually was, he took note of the booming music that filled the air whenever her animated figures came to life. The cheerful tunes were not only festive but also quite loud, echoing through the neighborhood. He pulled out a decibel meter app on his phone and measured the sound during one of her shows. To his surprise, the readings climbed well above the city's legal limit. In fact, the music from Karen's display often reached levels that could disturb neighbors and affect their peace. As he continued to gather evidence, Mr. Thompson couldn't help but feel a sense of vindication. While Karen had been focused on his lights, her own display was clearly violating local laws. With this newfound knowledge in hand, he felt ready to confront her. He understood that it wasn't just about decorations anymore, it was about fairness and following the rules that everyone was supposed to respect. As he prepared to file a noise complaint against Karen, he knew that this twist would surely shift the dynamics of their holiday rivalry in ways neither had anticipated. With the evidence of Karen's noisy holiday display firmly in his hands, Mr. Thompson felt a rush of determination. He knew that filing a noise complaint would not only address the disturbance but also shine a light on the inconsistencies in Karen's previous claims about his holiday lights. It felt only fair that she face the consequences for her own actions after attempting to criticize him. The next day, Mr. Thompson filled out the complaint form and submitted it to the local authorities, detailing how Karen's animated display exceeded permissible sound limits, particularly during late hours. As he wrote, he reflected on how Karen had judged his decorations without giving thought to her own festive setup, which was far more disruptive. When people from the neighborhood told him about how they too were affected by the loud music, Mr. Thompson felt even more justified in taking this step. He could hardly wait for the officers to respond. It was time for Karen to realize that community guidelines applied to everyone, including her. As he patiently awaited the outcome, Mr. Thompson imagined Karen's shock when she learned of the noise complaint against her. It wouldn't just be about lights anymore, this would serve as a lesson about respecting neighborhood rules and others' peace during the holiday season. The dynamic between them was changing dramatically, and he braced himself for what would come next in their unique rivalry. The following week, officers arrived at the neighborhood to investigate Mr. Thompson's noise complaint against Karen. With a sense of anticipation, he met them at his front door, eager to show them what he had recorded. They listened attentively as he explained the situation, detailing how her holiday display was not only disruptive but also in violation of city noise regulations. After gathering Mr. Thompson's statements, the officers headed over to Karen's house. When they approached, they could already hear the loud music and see the animated figures moving energetically in her yard. Karen, caught off guard by their unexpected visit, greeted them with a smile that faded as she realized the reason for their presence. "Is everything okay?" she asked innocently, her heart racing as she sensed the shifting dynamics. The officers explained that they were there to assess a noise complaint and needed to measure the sound levels coming from her display. Using decibel meters, they quickly conducted their assessment, and as the readings climbed above the acceptable limits for residential areas, it became clear that Karen's display was indeed too loud. The officers informed her that she would need to tone down the volume to comply with city regulations. As reality set in, Karen felt a mix of disbelief and embarrassment wash over her. She had fought hard against Mr. Thompson's decorations, but now she found herself facing consequences for her own choices during this festive season. After the officers delivered the news about her noisy holiday display, Karen felt the weight of embarrassment pressing down on her. They politely but firmly instructed her to shut down her synchronized light show and the loud Christmas music immediately. It was a shock that she hadn't anticipated, especially after being so vocal about Mr. Thompson's decorations. As she turned off the music and watched the animated characters freeze in mid-dance, a sense of disappointment washed over her. The joyous atmosphere she had created for her family and neighbors came to an abrupt halt, leaving only silence in its wake. Karen felt as if the spirit of the holidays had dimmed alongside the lights. Word quickly spread through the neighborhood about what had transpired. Friends and fellow residents who once admired her elaborate setup now stood on the sidelines, watching as her festive display slowly lost its magic. Meanwhile, Mr. Thompson's lights continued to twinkle brightly next door, untouched and compliant with local regulations. Feeling humiliated, Karen took a moment to reflect on her actions. She had put so much effort into showcasing her holiday spirit but failed to consider how it affected those around her. Now, with her prized show shut down, she faced the reality that sometimes complaints can lead to unforeseen consequences. As New Year's approached and Mr. Thompson's lights remained on for all to enjoy, Karen wondered how she could mend fences with her neighbor while bringing back joy to her own home during this festive season. As the holiday season progressed, Mr. Thompson continued to enjoy his tasteful light display, which twinkled beautifully against the frosty night air. Families from around the neighborhood gathered outside to admire the spectacle, sharing hot cocoa and laughter under the shimmering glow. Children pointed at the dazzling lights, eyes wide with delight, and many expressed how much they loved the warmth and cheer his decorations brought to the community. Meanwhile, Karen's yard stood darkened, devoid of the vibrant colors and festive music that had once filled her space. The absence left a stark contrast between her home and Mr. Thompson's cheerful setup next door. While she had always aimed to create joy through her decorations, she now felt isolated and regretful, reflecting on how she had misjudged the spirit of the season. As New Year's approached, the chatter among neighbors centered around their plans to celebrate, but Karen felt an overwhelming sense of loss over her silent, empty yard. She couldn't help but notice how easily Mr. Thompson was embraced by their community while she was sidelined. Determined to mend her relationship with her neighbor, Karen began brainstorming ways she could reach out and apologize for her earlier complaints. Perhaps she could offer to help him with future decorations or even host a neighborhood gathering to celebrate what remained of the festive spirit. She realized that it might be time to shift her approach. After all, the true spirit of the holidays was about coming together rather than tearing each other apart. As Karen reflected on the events of the holiday season, she couldn't help but think about the unexpected consequences of her complaints. Her attempt to address what she believed was a problem had backfired, leading to the shutdown of her own animated holiday display. The joy she sought to create had been overshadowed by embarrassment and isolation. Karen realized that in her eagerness to criticize Mr. Thompson's decorations, she had overlooked the impact her actions would have on her own festivities and relationships with neighbors. This experience served as a powerful reminder that complaints, especially about seemingly harmless things like holiday lights, could lead to unintended repercussions. Rather than uniting the community, her actions had driven a wedge between her and those around her. In grappling with these lessons, Karen began to understand the importance of empathy and open communication. Instead of jumping to conclusions or making assumptions about others' choices, perhaps it would have been more beneficial to discuss her concerns directly with Mr. Thompson. She recognized that fostering goodwill and understanding among neighbors was far more valuable than pointing fingers. As New Year's approached, Karen resolved to embrace a more positive approach moving forward. She planned to invite Mr. Thompson over for coffee, hoping to start fresh and build a better relationship based on mutual respect. Through this journey, she learned that the true spirit of the holidays lay in togetherness and celebration, rather than division and criticism. As the new year approached, Karen's renewed perspective brought clarity about the essence of community and the holiday spirit. She recognized that the most important celebrations are built on understanding and respect for one another's joys. The experiences she faced had shown her that pointing fingers could easily lead to unnecessary conflict, all while overshadowing the genuine connections that neighborly relationships could foster. Feeling more determined than ever, Karen planned a small gathering to bring everyone together. She envisioned inviting not just Mr. Thompson, but the entire neighborhood to celebrate the season's end with warm drinks, festive treats, and a chance to share stories. This would be an opportunity to bridge gaps and let go of any misunderstandings born from her earlier complaints. She thoroughly considered how she could express her newfound appreciation for the community's diverse celebrations. Karen planned to acknowledge her own missteps openly and invite genuine discussion about what brings joy to each person during the holidays. As decorations were taken down and holiday cheer lingered in the air, she hoped her neighbors would embrace this chance for connection and camaraderie. Ultimately, Karen learned that while individual celebrations matter, they flourish best when they are shared and celebrated together within a community. In this reflection of unity and companionship, she found that understanding each other's efforts in spreading joy enriched everyone's experience, making the holidays truly special for all.